Hi everyone, it's Teddy here. So for this episode, what I'm going to talk about is episode 11 of a recently released K-drama known as Imitation. Pretty popular one, I might add. So essentially what I'm going to talk about is kind of give a brief summary of what happened in the episode, give my analysis and review on it. And for those that doesn't want spoilers, you should probably go watch the episode first before you watch this video. So spoilers alert. Alright, so to start things off, I'm just going to kind of give you guys a brief summary of what happened for those that have already watched it. And for those that are okay with spoilers, okay, you can continue watching this video. Essentially what happened in the beginning of the episode is it follows directly from the previous one. So it starts off with Ryuk asking Maha about Annie's photo when she was an Omega 3 member, and then for some reason he just abruptly just like decides to leave the entire room without giving anybody a reason and without telling Maha anything. And he does this right after he saw an old pile of Maha's stuff. When he saw the cell phone that she had was the same one that was like was the same one that Yujo used to have, his best friend. So then next part of the story, it goes into the details with La Lima coming over to JH Entertainment, and she decides to strike a deal with Mr. G, and she wants to join the company, but she'll only do it on the condition that they'll take on all the leftover trainees that La Lima's previous company was unwilling to take. And also like Mr. G, because he's one of those pretty nice people during the show, he says, you know what, all the Tea Party members are considered to be investors in my company, so we all have to agree to it. I think this was a really nice part over here to show the growth in La Lima's character, because the way she starts off as an extremely unlikable and very bossy person who seems to only care about her own needs. But eventually, like, we do see a growth in her character, and we kind of saw this coming because we got a foreshadowing of this when she got pissed off at her old management, and she just told them that she wouldn't re-sign with them, and as soon as they told her about the fact that they were going to sell out all their trainees. So I think this was a very nice growth and development in her character, and I got to give a lot of credit to the actress who portrayed her, Park Ji-yeon. I've always been a fan of Tiara, but Ji-yeon, her performance in this show in particular, I've just been blown away by how well she's done. She's been doing as an actress on this show in particular, because the ability to portray multiple personalities and depths with La Lima's character, as well as being able to like show the growth of a character, especially somebody that's really unlikable at the start. That's just really good acting in my opinion. So moving back to the story, the next part of this episode, what it focuses on, well, actually most of this episode focuses on this next part, which is Ryuk and Maha investigating the cell phones belonging to Annie and Yuho. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I apologize. So they were started investigating the cell phones that belong to Annie and Yuho just to find out what really happened between those two. Essentially what they did was they tried multiple attempts at cracking the cell phone password codes, but they weren't able to unlock the phones time and time again because obviously they never had any clues or anything. Until eventually Ryuk remembered overhearing Yuho telling Annie that it was their 3000th date anniversary, the day that he was like spying on Yuho and Annie meeting up for a date. And then essentially what they decided to do, you know what, we're just going to use that code, and that's probably going to be the password code, and they were right. But one thing I gotta say is I had no idea that people kept track of the number of days during anniversaries now. Like back in my days, like it was always just been about 1 year, 5 year, or 10 year. I mean, it was never about the number of days. I guess the new generation of dating has really changed nowadays. And then next in the story, what happens is we get to hear Annie's really sad recording telling Yuho about how her CEO forced her to spend time with higher-ups from major companies in the idol industry. Now, although Annie herself mentioned that she does not remember whether or not she did anything immoral, like whether or not she did anything inappropriate in the bedroom or whatever with these higher-ups, she is still really saddened with guilt, just because of the fact that she even put herself in that position, and because she already has a boyfriend, she's just extremely saddened and overcome with guilt. And eventually, like, obviously, you know what happened next with her whole suicide and everything. But I felt like this was a really important part of the story, because it kind of shows you that this show is not afraid to break the boundaries, because it does show the dark sides of the idol industry. And in real life, I think stuff like this probably happens all the time, just that as outsiders, we probably don't know about it. I'm sure it happens all the time. And then next, what happens in the story is, sorry, I also forgot to mention. So she eventually realizes this, because originally she thought she didn't do anything with the higher ups, but eventually she became unsure of this, because she saw a photograph. It was a picture that was like photographed by one of the photographers that was doing it in secret, and she found out from Mr. G that she got caught with an executive in that photograph, and so she didn't want to risk anything. And that not only did she feel guilty, but she didn't want to risk the idea of it possibly hurting Yuho's career as well as hurting him emotionally. And then next, what happened in the show is they would find out that apparently Yuho also wrote a song specifically for Annie, and he would sing it to her every time whenever she would feel stressed out, just to kind of help her to calm down. It was also a nice way for him to kind of show the romantic side of Yuho. And I felt like overall the story between Yuho and Annie was just extremely sad. I felt like the show did an excellent job really tying up all the loose ends and really explaining why Annie did what she did in terms of committing suicide, and why Yuho had to ultimately just get away from it all. I mean, thinking about it now, it makes me feel as a viewer, a lot of times I do wonder whether or not, if I was in Annie's position, or if I was in Yuho's position, whether or not I would probably do the same thing, because until you're in those situations, you never really know, because people do all sorts of crazy stuff when they're in love. And also, I hope, like, going forward, that this is going to send a positive message. Whether you're a casual or hardcore fan, or even if you are one of those Sasans, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, Sasan, or however you pronounce it, you know, like the term for a crazy obsessed fan with K-pop. And not only for K-pop, but of any industry, whether you're a casual, hardcore, or Sasan fan, I hope you'll learn to respect the personal lives of idols, instead of just spewing out hate about how you want them to kill themselves just because they're in a relationship with somebody else and it's not you. Because at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind, these are all real people and they all have feelings just like us. I mean, I've always told people this: why hate on somebody that you don't even know? Like, at the end of the day, you have to understand that these are real people with real lives. Think about it this way: if you like someone, wouldn't you want them to be happy instead of hating on their relationship with somebody else? If there was a girl out there that I liked and admire, and they ended up with somebody else, I mean, I wouldn't hate on their relationship, and I wouldn't hate on the girl or the guy. I would just want the girl that I like to be happy. As for this situation, like idols, those are people that you don't even know. Why hate them for their choice? It's their personal life. Let them be whoever they want to be. All right, and then finally, the final part of this episode I want to get into is what happens after this. So after the whole situation with them finding out why Annie committed suicide, you have Ryo confronting Mr. G about Yuho and the truth, and he ended up telling Mr. G about the recordings. He would also find out from Mr. G that Yuho is apparently in Korea as well, and he ends up going to the place that Yuho is at, and it was some sort of like a library. I don't remember which library it was at. And so he goes over there to confront him about the situation with Annie. They talked about it. I mean, they sort of talked it over a little bit, and Yuho ultimately said that he doesn't want them to consider. Yuho said that he doesn't want them to continue pursuing the whole situation. because like he wanted to keep Annie's memories as a happy one. He doesn't want anybody to hurt her image, because obviously if she did do something with the executive, it's going to end up hurting her image if they try to pursue the situation any longer. And also at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind they're just idols. Like they're not rich or famous or anything like that. They're just idols that are still trying to work hard and make it out into the world. I mean, they're not executives. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of powerful connections. So they can't really do anything to those major executives. And then the next part of the story, what happens is Ryuk and Maha, they finally decide that they're going to release a song that Yuho was saying to Annie as a way to honor the secret relationship between Annie and Yuho. And I thought this was really sweet, and I thought this was a great job for them to kind of honor the secret relationship, and as a way of really honoring Annie's memories. I mean, I thought this was really nice what they did. And overall, I felt like this episode was pretty fantastic. I think this was definitely one of the saddest episodes I've watched, probably the saddest episode so far. I felt like most people, a lot of times, I originally thought that Annie was actually pregnant, and her real reason for committing suicide was because she couldn't handle the stress of being an idol. Well, the stress of not succeeding as an idol, because at the time she was struggling pretty badly with Omega 3. And also she didn't want to risk damaging Yuho's image, which is why ultimately she committed suicide. And that seems like not only my prediction originally, but a lot of other netizens, they have the exact same prediction. But I gotta give a lot of credit to the writers for creating a much more complicated storyline. And they really weren't afraid to just kind of go out, put themselves out there and really explore the dark sides of the idol industry. I mean, in real life, when you think about it, small companies forcing their idols to do certain things to appease to big company executives, something like this probably happens very often. It's sad when you think about it, but it probably is, honestly. All right, so that's all I really wanted to get into with this episode. If you took the time to actually watch this episode, if you took the time to really watch this episode or my video, I would really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for watching this video. And if you like this, please send me a like and subscribe. And thank you for your time.